Welcome to the Transformational Coach podcast with me, Rhona Barton, giving you competence with confidence. A transformational coach. But what does that actually mean? Well, I guess the common name for it, one that people are more familiar with, is a life coach. And a life coach can do many different things and be seen as many different things to different people. For me, it means that I help you, my clients, my coachees, to think through and have an open space to discuss really what's on your mind. Whether that's a work issue, whether it's a personal life issue, it could be something quite specific, it could be something more generic. The clients that I tend to work with most of all fall into 2 or 3 different areas. One of the main areas I work with are supervisors, line managers, management within corporate areas who've found themselves in that role really through accident, if you like. So these are usually people who have been very well liked, very well thought of in their job role. They've perhaps moved up through the ranks, become a team leader, and suddenly they find themselves being asked to take on more of a managerial role. Once they accept that, they're then more often than not left without any form of support, any form of development, any means to build their skills and take on the management side of that leading role. They're already very good with people, they can already motivate their teams, but they're lacking some of the additional support that's needed in management through things as simple as learning about personal development, learning how to, for example, manage conflict, even looking into what are key performance indicators, how to set goals for your team, how to get your team working more cohesively together. So that's one area I work with. The other area I'm very keen on and have a passion for lies within chronic illness. Now, I had chronic illness myself for almost 10 years. I suffered with a condition called ME, myalgic encephalomyelitis, to give it its full name. I was with that left bedbound, wheelchair bound, and really paralysed from the waist down. And I found that I really had to stop my life as I knew it and find a new direction. It's something that has stayed with me, even though I am now well. It's something that I continually learn lessons from when I overdo it myself, and I think back to the times when I was forced into not doing anything. And so I really feel drawn to helping people in chronic illness redress really the way their life is going and help them understand that this new direction doesn't mean that you have to change absolutely everything all of the time or all at once. There's a lot of learning that comes from chronic illness. There's also a lot of grief that comes from chronic illness. There's a lot of bereavement for the life that you thought you had and for the plans that you had laid out in front of you. So I do enjoy working with people in these different circumstances to help them see that although the life they thought they had planned is not necessarily one that they are now faced with, there are positives to take from that, and there are ways to help think about the negatives so that it's not always bringing you down. Wow, that seems to have got rather heavy rather quickly. So let me try and lighten it a little and tell you something else about me. I am also an author. In 2019, I was asked to give a speech, a motivational talk, to a charity for one of their fundraising events. A charity that I have since learned a lot about and thoroughly support. It's one that's here in the Aberdeenshire area in the northeast of Scotland, which is where I currently live. And having worked offshore in oil and gas, I managed to spend some time writing my speech, which when I actually put not quite pen to paper but fingers to keypad, turned out to be a little more War and Peace than I was expecting, and I decided that I would look into self-publishing. And in 2019, with the help of Kindle Direct Publishing, I'll give Amazon a plug at the moment, although they should really pay me, I produced my book, which is entitled You Don't Look Ill, and that is an expanded version of the speech that I gave in October 2019 for this particular charity. I will include in the show notes below this podcast a link to both the book and to the charity in case you'd like to check them out and offer some support. It would be much appreciated. So I class myself now as a published author and not just a transformational coach. I also count myself as a motivational speaker, purely based on feedback that I have had from people each time I retell a little of my story with ME. On top of that, I'm also a mentor for an ME charity, currently working with young people who the charity supports, really find their feet with this particular condition. On top of all of that, I'm also a trainer, an assessor, an IQA, a quality assurer, an auditor, and I cover a variety of industries, not just oil and gas that I have mentioned earlier, but others as well, which will come out, I'm sure, as we go through various podcasts together. As I mentioned, I'm based in Aberdeenshire in the northeast of Scotland, but I also love to travel. I live here with my partner, who I normally just refer to as him indoors. He's not one for the spotlight or the speakerphone at all, so it's very rare that I will actually mention him by name, but we do love travelling about, and we take a great pleasure in taking a break from my business, his work, to spend time in our motorhome. And we do like to travel across the UK as well as into Europe in it. Some glorious sunshine here with me the day I'm recording this. And we are considering going out for a cycle later this afternoon. So we do enjoy the great outdoors, and I have to say there is nowhere quite like Scotland that I have found so far in my travels to give you the countryside and the views, whether it be snow, rain or sunshine. Some of my favourite countries I have visited have actually been for work reasons. I have enjoyed some time in Singapore, in Qatar in the Middle East, in Indonesia, Bolivia, as well as in the likes of Tunisia and Egypt, Denmark. Even though I've been there for work reasons, I've always tried to engage with the local people and see some of the local sites as well, although on occasion this has been very fleeting from the backseat of a taxi on the way to an airport. Part of the reason that I wanted to do this podcast is to be able to explore some of the ideas that I have and some of the discussions that come up in my coaching sessions with clients. And so I've got for the next few weeks anyway, some ideas of things that we'll be discussing. I would obviously welcome your input on any other topics that you're thinking about yourself, but some of the areas I'll be looking at will include your goals and dreams, your energy and focus, confidence, authenticity, inner strength, inspiration and taking action, as well as looking at life balance and self-care, to name but a few. If you've other ideas for topics you would like to discuss, I'm more than welcome to hear your feedback, and feel free to drop me a message or put a comment below this. I am considering inviting some guests onto the podcast as well, so I'd be interested in your thoughts on that also. In the meantime, I will let you get on with your day. I'm going to pack this up just shortly and think I'll take myself out into the garden for a little while, enjoy some sunshine before we head off on our cycle. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to speak with you again soon. Bye for now.